So today I'm going to talk about the what I believe are the metaphors of the film Justice League. Also connected to Batman vs Superman, the precursor. Uh, what I believe are the metaphors that Zack Snyder's pretty much painting of what the characters mean, what they symbolize, what they stand for. So I believe from what I got from Batman vs Superman, it kind of set up this narrative that kind of aligns with the narrative, the political narrative in the United States, which deals with a fallen leader, which Superman represents the fallen leader that people believed he should have been able to do everything, and some people believe he should not do nothing at all. So it was very polarizing in Batman vs Superman how people thought of him as either a complete evil and a complete good, which both are unreasonable, of course. And I believe Superman in many ways was very much a metaphor for what the president of the United States is supposed to be to the country. And he also seems to be a metaphor for what the way legal immigrants are basically never accepted until they sacrifice something to be considered accepted as a citizen. And I believe that seems to be the narrative with Superman. It's like not until he dies that people all of a sudden have embraced him, not until he protects the country. In this case of Batman versus Superman, he protects the world. So that could be very seen to me as a connection to a real life narrative of how in the United States they only allow for legal immigration if you go through all the processes. As you see in Batman vs Superman, the processes are brought up in court and how he has to go through a whole system to be humanized. And the term illegal alien is connected since he is an illegal alien after all. A real, in the comic book world, he's an actual alien from a different planet. But in real life, they use illegal alien to dehumanize immigrants in many ways, to make people less sympathetic, have less empathy. They slap a name, a rhetorical name like illegal alien, to make them sound foreign, not of this earth, sort of, that you shouldn't sympathize or empathize with them. So that was a lot of what I loved about Batman vs Superman. Is this the metaphors and symbolism with both characters. But I'll elaborate more on Batman vs Superman on a different review, because I believe the movie actually deserves its own observation. So to me, he is very representative of that of also of Superman's also representative into the whole illegal alien narrative, is in that in the United States they don't allow you to be a citizen unless you do certain processes like I brought up, but one in particular that I have in mind is that if you become a soldier, if you join the military and you become a soldier, that says you're willing to die for the country. So they let you bypass all the processes and you get citizenship, from what I heard. I could be wrong about that, but from last time I heard about it, it's been like that for a while. But correct me if I'm wrong. So there you go. Superman was the sacrificial hero, the martyr, and he's mainly in this case in the Justice League, he's becomes more of the fallen leader coming back, which is very to me metaphorical for, like, let's say, a Barack Obama figure who, it was very disappointing for many people, but he also has his loyal base of people who liked him. He has some terrible things he's done, and he has some great things that he's done. It's been pretty much a mixed bag as far as symbolic policies. I know he's pretty much, like every president, pretty much engages in some kind of war crime, and I know he has done heinous things on that aspect, but I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about just the more on surface social political things. I see a connection with how Superman is a fallen leader in that aspect of the Barack Obama narrative, where now that he's gone, and we have you know who in office, it's like we miss him all of a sudden, and we want a leader to come back, or some kind of leader to arise. So in the movie Justice League, he's reborn into like a new type of leadership. So in that sense, Superman becomes a new type of leader, a leader that is no longer as disappointing as in the past. It's no longer hazy. He's reborn into something new, which touches on a more metaphorical level, that leaders must die in order for new ones to arise. I believe it's the metaphor, the very strong metaphor there. So the next one I wanted to talk about is what I believe is pretty much the dark forces that are taking over in the narrative between Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Is that there are dark forces that come from above, as in the end of Batman vs. Superman. The Lex Luthor character explains that it doesn't come from below, it comes from above. And I think that's a very, very clear symbolic metaphor for exactly what's happening in the U.S. Political system, is that the dark forces are actually coming from the top, from the big corporations. And from the top comes a true evil lord, dark lord controller type, which we don't know. And we know that Darkseid is who he's referring to. And as Justice League brings, there's just one much lower level villain doing the bidding before the real deal comes, which is Darkseid. And Steppenwolf would be like something along the line as possibly a a Donald Trump type, maybe, who knows, a lower level type of evil, a guy who does the bidding of the top people. And I would say Darkseid is the powerful corporate entity that we don't know about, that's pulling the strings and calling the shots from way up there in the darkness of the top. So with that being said, so there's protectors that have to defend the world from this evil from the top, aka the dark, the some people call it the deep state. I call it basically the big money corporate power that controls everything in our country, pretty much.